Hi, this project is Egg Carton Flowers. We're going to be using a Picasso print for inspiration. It's called a Bouquet of Peace, and Picasso made it in 1958 for a peace demonstration in Sweden. He used watercolors for the original and then turned it into a color lithograph or print. Okay, so what are we going to need to make our cardboard or egg carton flowers? You're going to need an egg carton that is empty, that you're ready to recycle. It does need to be the cardboard ones. The plastic ones I have never tried, so I don't know whether they work or not, but the cardboard ones are wonderful. You're going to need a pencil. You're going to need some glue and scissors. You're going to need, if you want it to be freestanding flowers and not a card, you can use chenille stems or craft sticks for the stems so that they can stand up. I made mine into a card, which I'm going to be giving to my mom for Mother's Day. And then you're going to need something for color. I'm going to talk about this later in the video, but some things work better than others for color, or you can mix them up and use them all. So let's go ahead and get started. You're also going to need a piece of paper if you want to turn it into a card, okay? All right. Okay, so let's get our egg carton ready to make flowers out of. So you're going to need a pair of scissors and an old egg carton that you've are ready to recycle. Okay, so first I'm going to cut the top off like this, right? And I'm going to use that top as a little tray to put things in that I'm going to need later. Okay, then there's this little flap on the other side, and I'm going to cut that off as well, like that. Okay, these points here at the top are going to make really good centers, so we're just as far down as we can. We're going to clip them off. Oops, you'll probably send them shooting around the room like I just did with that one. Okay, it's better to hold them from the top, and I'm going to put them in my tray because I'm going to want to use those later. Then we're going to kind of plan one at a time what we want to do with the cups, the egg cup part, okay? So why don't you just cut one of those off? And some of these are shaped differently. Some of them are more circular. Some of them are more diamond shape. This is a circular one, and we're going to do some drawing with our pencils first before we decide what kind of flowers we're going to be making. Okay, so for our first flower, I drew some shapes. There's some petals and some slots that are kind of formed by just cutting out that egg carton shape. But I drew what I want my petals to look like on the inside. And then next I'm going to cut on those lines. It doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, this is nature. So I'm going to cut down in here a little bit. Cut that triangle out like that, and that's one petal. I'm going to cut this triangle out like this, and that's another petal. Okay, and then I'm going to finish cutting right here between these two like that. Okay, so then we have a flower that has a center, and it also has 4 petals. So you could potentially fold these out a little bit like this. Be gentle because you don't want to tear them off before you're ready. Okay, and so when you have your 4 petals kind of bent out like that, you can start thinking about what you'd like to do with the center. Sometimes you can glue those points that we cut off in the center for one, and then you'll start thinking about what you want to do with color. Okay, so let's get a second cup ready. For our second cup, we're going to be making this sort of daffodil-looking flower up here, and what we're going to need to make that is our second cup cut out of the egg carton. And then remember how we cut the points off, these points off of the original carton and put them aside to use later. We're going to use one of those points as well. So to make our daffodil, I drew inside with marker so you can see it because it's kind of hard to see when I'm cutting. We're going to cut it so that it's the same all the way around on the top. So I'm going to get my scissors ready, and I'm going to cut on that line that I drew already. all the way around like that, so it's kind of the same height all the way around. Then we're going to get that point that we cut off between the cups and the egg carton ready. Okay, there's the body of the flower, and you can perfect that later. And then with a point here, this is one of these that we cut off of here. I'm going to have the big side be on the top, and on the other side, I'm going to carefully just cut off this like that and set it inside. And we're going to, after we've added color, be able to glue that in. So let's get a third cup ready. For our third cup, we're going to start kind of like we started with the daffodil. We're going to cut it so that it's all the same height. So I'm going to cut off those little higher pieces like that. Okay, and then I've drawn on the inside so you can see with little pencil lines. We're going to make the spiky flower, or the one that has the pom-pom in the center right now. Okay, and the way we're going to do that is on those little lines, I'm just going to cut all the way around on those lines. Okay, you only want to cut down as far as the bottom of the egg carton shape. Okay, all the way around, just those little lines. I like to draw the little lines first so you can kind of see what I'm doing, but also it helps me keep the petals kind of spaced sort of somewhat equally. This is nature, so it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. All right, and then one last little snip. And then anytime you're folding out, you do want to be careful, okay? You're going to start folding those petals out gently, flattening it like that. And then when you have planned for your color, however you're going to add your color, you can add the color and then put the pom-pom in last for this flower. Okay, let's get a fourth cup ready. Okay, for this flower, we're going to be thinking about making this blue one with the button in the center. Just like with the other flowers, like we did for the daffodil flower, we're going to cut the cup so that it's the same height all the way around. Just like for the other flowers, I drew the petals on the inside, so I knew where I was cutting before I cut. Then I cut my petals like this and this one. And then this one, because I wanted it to stand up just a little bit, I'm going to use the back side or the opposite side, but either side works. You're just gently going to press those petals down so they stay flat or stay open. I could have just as easily put my button here, or I chose to put it on the back here. You decide which side you want to use, but don't put the button on until you've actually painted and used your color. Okay, so now I feel like you're ready to kind of generate some of your own ideas, come up with your own ideas about how to use the carton cups to turn them into flowers. When you've made as many flowers as you'd like and they're ready, it's time to start thinking about how we're going to add color to them. Okay, when you've made all the flowers that you want to make, it's time to start thinking about color. I've made some samples here on this cardboard strip. Way over here you can see this is purple and orange and yellow markers, and they make nice bright colors on the cardboard. This is crayon, and actually crayon works pretty well on cardboard as well. It's the egg carton cardboard. These two here are watercolors, and you can see if you want a softer sort of pastel color, that's really nice. This is marker again, and then this is tempera paint, okay? For these in here, I used tempera paint. It's kind of important to, if you're going to put centers in them, to paint both pieces before you put them together. It just makes it so much easier, either paint or this is a marker tempera combination. The orange center is marker and the outside is yellow tempera. And then these, both the red one and the blue one, are with tempera as well. So once you paint them, let them dry, but it is kind of important to let them dry like you want them to be, because otherwise it's going to dry maybe with petals or things maybe not like you want them to be. Okay, so then if you've planned for centers, you can glue those in once they're dry. I also like to use other things, look around the house for other things for centers, like maybe a pom-pom in this one, if you have some pom-poms, or a button in this one. If you don't have those kinds of things, it's great to just use the egg carton pieces to put your flowers together. Then when they're all dry and they've all been painted or used with markers or crayons, color added, you're going to start thinking about how you're going to arrange them into a bouquet, either on a piece of paper or freestanding, maybe in a small container. You can use craft sticks for the stem. You can use chenille stems for the stem. You can use paper. You can even paint the stems out on your piece of paper. Anything is good. And then I told you I was going to use mine for a Mother's Day card from my mom. So I'm going to be gluing mine on paper and probably going to use markers for the stems when I put them into a bouquet. So be creative, have fun. These are lots of fun to do. And remember, there's no mistakes because it's cardboard and you're already recycling. So have fun with it. Bye.